But I've been to Singapore. I've lived there. I've worked there.
Okay.
I have seen the transformation. Singapore today, at one point, by the way, Tanzania and Singapore, we were on the same level economically. But look at where Singapore is today. A leader ought to have a vision. So that's number one. Number two, President Kikwete, former president of the United Republic of Tanzania, has been to many a symbol and an icon of what an effective leader is, from his charisma to wisdom to his charms, And so for me, it was a great privilege and an honor to actually have him read the book and endorse it. And during the launching, but today, Musa, if you find me sitting in an aircraft and we're about to fly, get down that aircraft. Don't fly with me.
Right.
Because we are bound for disaster.
I heard about something that as a leader, you should make others do the job and take the credit. What do you think about that? Is it fact or trash?
And when I was working in Malaysia, I remember there's a time I went to greet my colleague first day at work. I'm so excited, Hey, hi! I wanted to shake her hand.
Yeah.
She refused. I felt so bad. It's like, why? Because I'm black? You must understand that in this journey, in this leadership journey, our journeys are different. Everybody has their own journey. So my journey is not Musa's journey. So that means the pace that Musa will be traveling on is not the same with the pace that I'll be traveling on. His destination is not mine. So this helps me not to compare myself with him. So avoid comparisons. You must understand.
Welcome back to Make Your Own Destiny podcast, the podcast that inspires you to shape your future. Today we have a very special guest. If you're new here, please smash that subscribe button. If you're the OG, like this video. Actually, this guest is one of the very few people that I've met who are Tanzanians, who has his own book. His name is Jonathan Ndali, and the book is called... Let me not spoil what's in the book before you read it, but Jonathan himself is going to tell a little bit of what's inside. Just some summary so that you can go and buy and read the whole book. Anyways, let me not talk so much. We have Jonathan here. He came all the way from his house to the studio just to share value with everyone on this podcast. So, Jonathan told me behind the scene, he told me that this will be the greatest episode that we have ever done. So I encourage everyone who is watching to grab a pen and a piece of paper so that you can take notes. I don't want anyone to miss anything that will be spoken in this episode today. So Jonathan, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Musa. Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
I'm very fine. Very good.
I'm always inspired when I see books, and I love reading books.
Oh yeah?
Especially personal development books.
Sure. Sure.
My life used to be a very, very dark place. Like I didn't know where I'm going. I had no guidance. But through books, they helped me a lot. Just imagine, people underestimate the value of reading books. But almost everything that I've learned in life, let's say 80%, was through books. I remember the first time that a book sparked my life was Rich Dad Poor Dad. That book changed my whole perspective on how I look at money, how I look at finances. Until today, I can say it helped me a lot. I cannot describe. I'm sure people who have read the book, they know what I'm talking about. If you have read Rich Dad Poor Dad, comment down below any lesson that you have learned from it. Then come and read the trail and come back again and tell me what you have learned on this. So Jonathan.
Yeah, sure.
Before we dive into your life, who you are and stuff like that, what the book are about?
So the trail, like it says, back in the days, I used to live in Southeast Asia, and I used to love climbing mountains. And so we even formed a team mountain climbers.
Okay.
We started hiking smaller hills, and then we wanted to climb many mountains, and eventually Mount Kilimanjaro,
Okay.
and then the Himalayas. And so, yeah, we started doing that. And so I was picking lessons along the way. One of the lessons was that we never walked all together simultaneously.
Yeah.
Right? We would walk in a single trail.
Okay.
One person in front, then another one behind, just like that, no matter how many we were. And so I noticed that the trail was often narrow,
Okay.
filled with a lot of hurdles to navigate, insumable hurdles, right? Sometimes the trail, if it rains, for example, becomes very slippery. And then you'd find maybe perhaps would often encounter snakes, leeches, mosquitoes.
Okay.
And sometimes the trail is located along a cliff, and so it's very slippery. If you are not very careful, it's very easy for you to slide and fall.
Yeah.
But we went through all those hardships just to get to the summit. And I asked myself why. The summit is always very beautiful. You get a spectacular view of the city sometimes, like even here in Pugu.
Yeah.
You get fresh air. There's just that inner accomplishment that I've conquered this. And so I wrote the trail after having navigated many trails as a mountain climber. And so I have equated the hardships faced along the trail with that of leadership. So I say leadership is a journey. And just like the trail, leadership is also not easy. Sometimes it is very lonely. Sometimes it is very slippery. Sometimes you meet snakes, you encounter hardships, and all of these things. But your ability to navigate the trail of leadership effectively is what's gonna ultimately get you to become an effective leader. And so I wrote this book just to share some nuggets and some principles of leadership. Any aspiring leader, any current leader, if they read this book, it will change their lives. Yeah, that's about the trail.
Yeah. For people who don't know,
Yeah.
I was actually surprised when I found out that this book was endorsed by the greatest president of this country,
Yes,
Jakaya Kikwete.
absolutely. Yeah.
Just imagine. That's crazy, man.
Yeah. It was such an honor. I mean, President Kikwete, former president of the United Republic of Tanzania, has been to many a symbol and an icon of what an effective leader is, from his charisma to wisdom to his charms, and many of us young people look up to him. And so for me, it was a great privilege and an honor to actually have him read the book and endorse it. And during the launching, he was meant to be the guest of honor. In fact, I think he had some conflicting timetables, and so he addressed the mass using a video. But we are so grateful because he's such an incredible leader. He's one of the best. I mean, I would say that. So I'm humbled.
Actually, the way we started this episode is very unconventional, and we're not used to do that. But because I was so excited about this book,
Yeah, sure.
that's
sure.
why I had to start with this book. So
Yeah.
if you're interested, just go get a copy. Even if you're not interested, I'm sure you'll learn a lot from this book.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get to know Jonathan.
Okay.
So can you please share a bit of background about yourself? Who is Jonathan, and why are you so interested about being a leader and leadership?
Well, like you said, my name is Jonathan Ndali, born and bred here in Tanzania. And then when I finished my O levels from 4, I went to study abroad. So I lived in several countries. I graduated from Oxford Brookes, a UK university. I studied in Malaysia. I worked in Malaysia. I worked in Singapore, and a little bit of other parts of Southeast Asia. So that's Jonathan, briefly. But why leadership? So my mandate in life is very simple.
Yeah.
I believe I'm called to build people and equip leaders.
Yeah.
How do I build people? I build people through writings. I build people through seminars, through talks, through preachings. That's what I do. I build people, because I believe as a person thinks in his heart, so is he. So today, Musa, if you think you're poor, that's who you are. So you only grow to the level of your thinking, So I try to build people by helping them to change their mindset, mind transformation. Because if you can see it, you can become it. It starts from here, right? And so I build people and I equip leaders. Why do I equip leaders? Because I believe everything rises and falls under leadership. The words of John Maxwell. So if everything rises and falls with leadership, then that means leadership is one aspect of our lives that we can never afford to neglect or to take it lightly, right? Because with that, things rise, with that, things fall. So I have noticed that we often at times put people in positions of leadership that we have not prepared them. And so they are not equipped. They don't know how to handle people. They don't know how to lead. They burst and burn out under pressure. And so I come in and I equip them. And so how do I do that? I work with organizations, I work with corporates, and so I do training. So you can call me a corporate trainer, a coach, and the essence is really at the end of the day to create a better world for you and I. So I build people, I equip leaders, so that everybody can perform and function optimally.
Okay.
So that's me.
Yeah, that's great. And I think most people don't understand the value and the importance of leadership.
Yeah.
I believe everyone, whether you know it or you don't know it, whether you act like it or not, you're a leader. Because let's say you're a man, you have a family, automatically you're a leader.
Yeah, definitely.
So you must have qualities of leader.
Yeah.
So, and to have those qualities, you have to learn. It's better to learn from others than to learn from your own mistakes.
Yeah, true.
Because learning from your mistakes is very, very difficult. And why would you learn?
This is the best teacher.
Yeah, why would you learn from a mistake if
Yeah.
you can have someone
Yeah.
to teach you about leadership?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can learn from others, like from books. And they're saying, let's say that the more you learn, the more you earn. And I 100% believe in that, because
Yeah.
I have a testimony myself, and I have that experience in my life that the more I keep learning, the more I keep earning. Back to the leadership.
Yeah.
What qualities makes a good leader? Or
Okay.
what qualities can someone have to be a best leader?
All right. So before I answer your question, let me add something there.
Yeah.
You said the more you learn, the more you earn.
Yeah.
So me, I'm giving you another one.
Okay.
This is what I believe. The more you learn,
Yeah.
the more you grow.
Okay.
The more you grow, the more you earn.
Okay.
Because earning, you only earn to the level of your growth. So if you've only grown up to this part, you only earn up to this part. And if you stop growing, it means you are dying. Anything that stops growing means it's dying. So you gotta keep growing. How do you grow? You learn, and then you earn more. So these are the yeah. So I will share a few things from the book.
Okay.
So in this book, I've written, there are many qualities of great leaders. I mean, we can see leadership is a vast and broad subject.
Yeah.
We can list 1,000 of them, but I want to share 3.
Okay.
So in this book, I've written about maps, modes, and minds. Maps, modes, and minds. Maps, I mean visions, right? A leader needs to have a vision of where you're going. And so this is one thing that really sets you apart as a leader. What is your vision? Because if you do not have a vision, it means you don't know where you're going. And if you're leading people, the question would become, where are you taking them? Because you don't have a vision.
Yeah.
So maps is or vision. A vision is really a mental picture of where you see yourself, of where you want to go. You see, in the question of leadership, you have a leader, you have people, and you have the goal or the vision. So if we define a leader is someone who is able to effectively carry out leadership functions in order to influence these people to reach the vision,
Okay.
take them from one place to another. This leader causes what we call impact. Impact is an influence that leads to perpetual positive behavior. So these people act in a certain way or speak in a certain way that lead them closer to the goal or to the target. So it's very important for a leader to have a vision. So these is what I call maps. And in this book, if someone reads, you see that I've given an example of Lee Kuan Yew, the late. He was a former prime minister of Singapore. That guy was an example of a visionary leader. I mean, there's so much we can talk about him. You can read all about that. But I've been to Singapore. I've lived there. I've worked there.
Okay.
I have seen the transformation. Singapore today, at one point, by the way, Tanzania and Singapore, we were on the same level economically. But look at where Singapore is today. So a leader ought to have a vision. So that's number one. Number two, I talk about modes. Or means. Yeah. Okay. So these are knowledge. Okay. Means or modes. The other word to that is knowledge. Now, suppose you want to go to Mlimani City.
Yeah.
Right? Let's say you call an Uber. Or when I was coming here, right, you sent me a location, isn't it? So that's the map. I have the map. This is where I'm going. The following question is, how am I going to get here? You get the point? How do I get here? So what mode of transportation will I use? Am I going to drive? Am I going to walk? Am I going to run? Am I going to trek? Will I use boda boda or dala dala? You get the point. So for a leader, this is very important because you see where you want to go. But the following question to ask is, how do I get there?
Yeah.
So you need knowledge. What type of knowledge do you want? Do you need to get to your destination?
Okay.
Do you need effective communication? What knowledge do you need to know how to deal with people? Do you need to know about emotional intelligence? Do you need to know the environment?
Yeah.
What is it? If it is business, do you need to know more about your product, about your competitors? What knowledge do you need in order for you to get closer and closer to your vision? Yeah. And the last thing I talk about is what I call minds. So minds, when I say minds, I mean skills, right? It's one thing to be knowledgeable, but it's totally another to possess the skill, right?
Okay.
A friend of mine who is a pilot came home once. See me, one of the programs I love watching is called Aircraft Investigation.
Okay.
Aircraft disaster investigation. I've watched this program for more than 15 years.
Okay.
I see a lot about planes, about why they crash. They do the investigation. They find out what happened. They rectify the mistakes and make things better. So I know quite a lot about flying. So one time a friend of mine came home. He's a pilot, and we started conversing. As we were conversating, my wife passed by, and she made this comment. She said, if I didn't know you guys, I would say these are two pilots speaking. Because I'm really good at that thing.
Yeah.
I'm really good. Talking only.
Okay.
I can tell you stuff, man. But today, Musa, if you find me sitting in an aircraft and we're about to fly, get down that aircraft. Don't fly with me.
All right.
Because we are bound for disaster. because I can't fly. You get? So that's the difference. My friend who is a pilot can actually fly with all the talks, but he can actually fly. So that's the difference between knowledge and skill, right? So proper application of knowledge leads to skill. So a leader needs to have more than knowledge. When you read this book, you become knowledgeable. But if I talk about the ability to build and maintain long-lasting relationships, you need to practice that over time to develop a skill. If I talk about effective communication, you need to practice that over time to develop a skill. So 3 characteristics I would consider for a 21st century leader to have to become effective is maps, modes, and minds. Vision, knowledge, and skills.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very, very important. And actually, I'm so happy to be here as well because I'm learning a lot. I just regret I'm not taking notes, but I will watch this video again so that I can.
I hope I think I'm gonna watch it again too.
Yeah, because you are giving a lot of value, and I hope everyone who is watching is taking notes and is enjoying. Just comment down below, what have you learned so far from Jonathan as we're proceeding. You talked about having skills. I think that's a very big problem that most people have right now, because I've seen a lot of people who are always learning. You know, in this day and age, people don't really like reading books. Like if they need some information, they just go to YouTube, go to Rambo, go to Twitter. Yeah, they just consume content. Someone will go and learn, okay, let's say, learn how to be a reader, how to make money, all of that. But they will never actually test those skills. They'll just keep learning and get into that loop. So when you told me like you must have skills, now it clicked like, this is the real deal. You know, having knowledge without having skills, I think it's just like having a gun without bullets.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you're very right.
Yeah, it's like it's useless. Yeah, it's crazy. Can you share a moment in your life that really shaped your leadership skills and your leadership style?
Well, a moment.
In your life or in your career.
Well, there's been many, but actually, honestly, I don't think there has been one particular moment. I think it has been a summation of many experiences, an aggregation of many experiences over time. You see, we live life on levels and arrive in stages. So each stage in life presents us with a new level of knowledge, maturity, understanding, and becoming a better person. So because we live in different levels and arrive in different stages, so each stage that I've been, I've encountered something different. I've encountered a certain challenge. For example, I remember this one time I was climbing one of the mountains back in Kuala Lumpur, and there was a lady from a certain country. I can't remember, maybe Vietnam, I can't remember. So we climbed all the way to the summit. So when we were coming down, so it was a rainforest. The sun rays do not really come into the down where we were, because there's a huge shade from the rainforests, and so it's a bit darkish, and it was around 5 p.m., 5 going to 6. So it was, the sun was actually setting and it was getting to be darker. And so this lady collapses on our way down. Imagine now we are very tired, very exhausted, dehydrated, and somebody collapses. And we're a group of about 20-25 people, and we have to come down. And so for me, this was a moment that, you see, when everything is going well for leaders, it's very easy to applaud them. But when things go wrong, everybody stands aside and then now look at you for solutions. So the pressure becomes huge. And so this was the exact moment that I needed to, demonstrate some skills. I didn't know what to do. This person has just collapsed. I could have chosen to just ignore her, but I couldn't. There was this thing in me as a leader that was pushing me to take responsibility. And this is another thing I want to tell leaders, that one of the things that will separate you from the rest of the ordinary leaders is your ability to take responsibility. And so my friend and I, we had to pick this lady on our shoulders and navigate that terrain all the way to the base. So it was slippery, it was raining, and it was okay, it had rained in some parts, I think, during the day. And so at this time it wasn't raining, but it was a bit muddy and slippery. We navigated all the way down, and so this taught me a lesson, a big lesson that I live by today, to date, that leaders need to be selfless. They need to practice selflessness. Selflessness is that ability of living beyond yourself. I don't live for myself. I live for my neighbor. I live for you. I look after you. You get? So to answer your question, there has not been one particular moment, but it has been an aggregation of different ones. This is one of them. It taught me selflessness. There are many others that taught me humility. There are many others that taught me wisdom. There are many others that taught me, brace yourself, resilience. There are many others that taught me effective communication. I remember there's one time I was working with a company in Singapore. For example, your name is Musa, right? You've got MUSSA.
MUSSA.
So imagine I write you an email and I write MUSA. I forget one S. And so this
that's a turn off.
You get it, right? So this client went ballistic. And she wanted to sue me.
You only had one job.
You understand? Yeah. So that's another experience that taught me effective communication.
Okay.
In fact, I had to take a course by Matthews International. The course is called Write It Right. Write It Right. RWRITE RIGHT. Right. So there are many others. So I would say it's been an aggregation of different experiences that has made me who I am today.
Talking about misspelling someone's name, you reminded me a lesson from one book that I read. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Dale Carnegie.
Yeah, Dale Carnegie. Yeah. So in one of the chapters, he said that a person's name is the sweetest word in any language.
That's very true.
Yeah, so
that's very true.
Whenever you are saying someone's name, and actually you have to give people good names. Don't call people bad names. And whenever you're pronouncing someone's name, make sure you do it right. Yeah, because it's the sweetest
words are powerful, man.
Yeah, it's the sweetest word in language.
So yeah, such experiences, man. Yeah. So always remember, we live life on levels and arrive in stages. So each stage in life presents you with a new opportunity to learn, to grow, to become better.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in every aspect of life, there are strategies. You don't just go and approach something blindly, or you get lost. So what strategies should leaders employ to foster a culture of innovation and creativity within their teams?
This is a very good question, and I love it because if leaders can actually pay close attention to what I'm going to say, I think many of our organizations, many of our teams here in the country and everywhere else that people are listening will do exceptional. In fact, I've written this in my book, and I want to share something small, right?
Okay.
From the book. So I talk about innovation in this book as one of the traits of triumph